Hello everyone, it is me, the Goof, and I'm here because I need to make a suggestion to the devs working on Pixel Game Maker. There's a few things that need to be done, and I do better explaining things with a video than I do if I try to type it all out and explain it to the developers. So what I'm going to do here right now is talk about a few things that the software itself needs, or I feel like it needs, especially since when you look at an action game, when you look at a platformer, when you look at an action game, when you look at shoot 'em ups, when you look at a lot of things, a lot of stuff out there, when you look at it, there's certain effects. It's mostly very visual. It's not like an RPG game. I mean, even RPG games, there's visuals matter, effects matter, things of that nature matter as far as presentation, as far as just the presentation of the game, the visuals and whatnot. They matter. Effects matter. Being able to do certain things matter. It helps paint a better world. It helps show off more, I don't know if the word would be detail. I'm not sure how to say it. Okay, so in this video I'm going to go over a few things as a suggestion to the developers of Pixel Game Maker, and hopefully they can implement these features sometime down the road. There's a few things that bug me, so let's jump into the scenes right quick and go to my test scene. I'm getting attacked by bugs. But yeah, let's go to, hopefully this is being seen. Yeah, okay. Let's go to scene settings. Okay, so I want to start with the background. The only thing that has the ability to auto loop and have a scroll is the background image. That's it. That's it. Just a background image. And that's... I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have a few ideas, but let's go over how we can... possible solutions for creating things that scroll in the background. So, let me pop up my Super Nintendo emulator here. While we're at it, I'm going to disable audio. We don't need, how do I turn the audio off? You're supposed to, okay, there it is, mute sound. Okay, we don't need sound. We do not need sound for what I'm going to do here. So let's find a game. Let's go for Congo's Capers. That'll help describe something that I'm trying to do and can't do in my game. It'll help. Always need an example. And most of the games that I try to make are very much in line with Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis games. So, let's talk about scrolling bits of the background. There's different ways that we could go about what I'd like to see done. But I want to show an example of some of the things I want to see done. We don't need all this. We can just get into the game. Alright. Here we go. Alright, in the background you'll notice something. Let's go ahead and, not that. There we go. Let's hide, there we go. Let's hide the character sprite real quick. We don't want to go too far by, but I think we can hide. There we go. Notice the clouds in the background, the way that they scroll and they go by. Now, the way that they're scrolling is actually different pieces. We have, I'm pretty sure there's 16 by 16, so there's like 16 by 16 here, then 16 by 16 here. 16 by 16 and another 16 by 16, and each row of 16 by 16 is told to scroll automatically and loop onto itself. And I try to think, well, how can we do this in Pixel Game Maker? How can it be done as far as the programmers are concerned? Because they're the ones that are going to have to, here we go. They're the ones who are going to have to do this. So let's move ahead here a bit. I don't know if you can see in the background. Yeah, okay, so this is an example of what I was trying to showcase here. So how would we do this in Pixel Game Maker? Well, I have a solution, and I want to present it to the developers with this. It wouldn't be in here. Now, there is the thought of making auto scrolling for different layers in the background. So whatever layers you have here could have an auto scroll. That's one option, which when you tell it to auto scroll, it could also be told to loop. It'll automatically know to loop because it's an auto scrolling level or layer that scrolls on its own. That's one idea. That's one idea. But I have another idea of how to accomplish this. So in the tile setup for whatever, you can let me find the background for those clouds I'm using. Okay, so here's my thought, and work with me here. There's this ability you have where you can select several tiles like this. You can select a bunch of tiles like this. And there's ways of telling all those tiles at once to have different functions all at once. You can tell them all to be walls or no walls. You can tell them all at once what tile group to be. You can set all this information up for that tile. Oh my God, you can do that. I just now realized you could. I just realized you could tell certain tiles to have a specific opacity. Holy crap, I'm stupid. This is awesome. I'm glad that this is here. This will help me with some things later. So let's if you'll notice something with the opacity, depending on the level of opacity, it has different effects. That's cool. I'm glad that's there. I didn't know that was there. Holy crap. So my idea is something like the animations here, but not. It would be another tab. My idea is a tab. And under that tab would be a auto scroll setting. And with the auto scroll setting, you would highlight a bunch of pieces, like so, and you would have a box with a check mark next to it and a number, kind of like the animation thing. So what you would do is you would tell it how fast to move in whatever direction. Doesn't matter. It can be, you could have a clock, kind of like in the auto scroll portion for the background image for the scene. And you can tell it what direction to scroll, right? And then how fast to scroll it. And it'll loop onto itself, whatever is selected. If you only select this, it'll automatically know to loop and just scroll whatever direction within that single tile, unless you grab more. And it can be told to move within that group, left, right, up, down, up, left, right, down, whatever, at specific speeds. And it would basically tell a whole group of images to move auto scroll within itself. And that's one idea I had that could work. Another one would probably be less feasible and more stressful. Another idea is because what if you don't want the entire background to auto scroll? What if you don't want the entire background to auto scroll? Maybe there's some way to grab or select an area in the background. Or not even an area, because on Super Nintendo games, they're basically told within this Y area, up and down, to scroll at a separate speed. So, or to auto scroll at a separate speed. So what if there was some way to literally tell it within the options, either within the scene settings or within the or within something on the side of the screen, I guess, maybe. Some means of hang on. Some means of like a tool, maybe, to where you would grab a bunch of them in the background, and when you select them all, a thing pops up on the side that you then tell that selection or section to scroll at a different speed. So if I want, oops, let me undo that. If I want just this group right here to auto scroll, I could grab them all like this. A thing would pop up on the side here, and you could tell it to auto scroll left or right, and it would loop into itself. I mean, that's one idea. I mean, it's something. It's better than nothing. And really, off the top of my head, those are the only two ideas off the top of my, other than telling a layer to auto scroll and loop. Those are the two ideas in my brain when it comes to telling different clouds in the background to scroll at different speeds. So you could grab this row right here, which is its own row. You could grab this row right here, which is its own row, or this row right here, and once you set up this one area, you can grab all of it and copy it over to the next part, and it'll still have that information. That is one idea that I've had in my head when it comes to figuring out a way to make things move like they're moving here. Those are the two ideas that I have in my head for making that sort of scrolling effect. But there's another thing I want to talk about that has nothing to do with the auto scroll sort of things in the background and whatnot. And it's actually an idea that maybe is something that it's something completely different. But it still has to do with layers. Or yeah, layers. So my idea, and this has to do with effects. There's some effects that are missing. Down here you can tell all these effects. You can add an effect through here. There's different effects. There's like a noise, a mosaic, a monochrome, a sepia, a invert, a blur, a chromatic aberration, and a darken. I want to suggest some more. I want to suggest waves. And now I have to figure out how to show off what I'm talking about. When I say waves. I keep saying waves, but there's another way to explain it. I'm going to explain it with a Sega Genesis game that I borrowed some inspiration from. My mouth is going completely dry here. Okay. With a little game called Kid Chameleon. There's no sound because we don't need sound. Alright, the first level that can really demonstrate this is this level. You can see what I'm talking about already. Right there in the background. Let me turn off some here we go, layer options. So let's turn off that layer. That works. Okay. Let's turn off the sprite layer too. Okay. Notice the water in the background, or it's supposed to be water, but the reflection on the water in the background. When I say wave, I mean this effect. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, there's that kind of effect, but then there's also the effect that goes up and down. I would like to see those added right here, along with a magnitude and maybe a speed, to the list of layer scene effects options. So we can pull that off with a layer. So I have a layer for water effect. Right down here is the water. Of course it's that, but I could separate that. So my suggestion would be something to tell different layers. You would select that, and then you would select vertical wave and horizontal wave. You would have to add it to the list, and you would select the magnitude, and maybe speed equals magnitude somehow. I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas here. I don't know how the programmers would implement this. These are just ideas that are in my head. And you would apply it to that layer specifically, and it would thus apply it to these to these back here, to the I gotta make that show again. It's not showing. Oh my goodness. Boop, boop, boop. To not main, not behind to water effects. Well, I would have to make I would have to maybe separate the layer and make a layer for the water effects and the that in the bottom here. But it would be a layer itself. That way I could tell that same effect to happen here. That wave effect that's happening here. By way of scene settings and the scene effect. See? Of course it wouldn't be that layer. It would be like one of the background layers. Yeah, it would be that layer, but I would have to make an extra layer for the water itself to wave. But that was a thought. I don't know if it would work, how well it would work, especially considering the lack of a loop option in the layers, in the scrolling speed. And I really think that probably the best thing that they could add maybe would just be an auto scroll within here. But then there's the other two ideas that I presented a while ago that could also be done. So that's the end of this video. I hope I've explained this stuff well enough for the developers. I'm no good at typing out and explaining things with text. That's why my post will be, hey, here's a video. These are my suggestions. And hopefully something can be looked into. I don't know how well that's going to work on higher resolutions. I don't know. But it's the thought that counts. And I've seen people asking, how do I do this? How can I do this? I've seen this done in games. How do I do it? And everybody so far has been like, you can't. And that's frustrating and disappointing when you see things in Super Nintendo games and Genesis games, and I think even some NES games were able to do certain things. You know, and you look at them and you go, I'm sorry, man, there's no way. There's just no way. It sucks having to tell them that, because then it might frustrate them and make them go, why did I spend money on this if I can't do that, or I can't do this, or I can't do that? So I'm just saying, so these are my ideas presented to you. I kind of did a similar thing, only I used screenshots to explain the whole X and Y layer speed, which they took care of that. That's awesome. This software is slowly coming together and becoming more of what it needs to be, in my opinion. It's not quite there yet, but if they keep working on it, it will be, and it's almost there. So I know they have to work out bugs and whatnot, but I hope this helps. So I'm done, and thank you for watching, and I hope you consider the options and consider features to help implement these ideas. Also, I'm an idiot, and I need to start looking better at things, because I seriously had no idea that in the tile setting that you could do this. I didn't know you could. I had no freaking clue that this was here. I kept looking for this effect specifically. This effect right here. I was looking for that specifically in the layer options. I wasn't looking at it in tile options, and now I feel like a dingleberry because I didn't look at the basic options for the tiles. I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. Man, I'm dumb. Oh man. Anyhow, so this has been the Goof. I'm out, and bye.